Welcome to Talks That Teach. This is where ideas don't just set still. They are set into motion, and there we spark conversations that inspire growth, courage, leadership, and transformation. Today's episode is truly meaningful. Face yourself, lead better. Because before leaders can lead teams, organizations, or communities, they must first learn to face themselves. And self awareness builds a real leadership. And joining us today is a powerful voice, leadership coaching, and I really say coach and public service, Dr. Jane Amisi from Kenya. She is a civil servant, land administrator, certified coach, John Maxwell Leadership Team Member, servant leadership advocate, and author of Reality is Your Advantage. Dr. Jane, welcome to Talks That Teach. It's an honor to have you on our platform.
Thank you very much, Nassim. I'm very happy, very delighted to join you today in Talks That Teach. I'm happy about what you do, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this discussion. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. And before we start our conversation, you were talking about a little bit in our, you can see the, before we went live, about how you shifted from different your roles to this leadership role as a coach.
Yes.
Share in a brief so that our audience get a good idea that this is a wonderful role that you are now having at this moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would love to share my background a little bit with the audience. As mentioned, my name is Jane Amisi. Doctorate that I did is in Human Resource Development from the University of Melayu, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And before that, I had done still my master's in human resource development, which by then was personnel management and industrial relations. Quite a number of my friends nowadays, I meet so many thanks to the media. But before that, I still was in the social or the relations kind of development. But when I got employed, I worked in the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning. That disturbed me for a long time, as I was mentioning to you, because I kept looking at the difference between land management or administration and the human resource. And I'm like, why am I clashing? I really love doing human resource. But after keen reflections within myself, I realized in all these things, I'm not going to the land to till, I'm not driving a tractor to the ground. Hey, I'm dealing with people. That is all we deal with in land administration. We deal with the owners, and all real estate people are people they talk. And I realized, hey, why don't I connect these two? And now I'm teaching, I'm doing workshops, I'm carrying seminars, talks on leadership development and coaching to both real estate sector and human resource development. And it works perfectly well. That's why I'm here today to have this discussion with you as well.
Okay, it's a great thing that you have shared. What was the situation when this idea you have just shared with me dawned on you that you are not fit in that situation, you are going to change your role in another? What was the situation?
Nasime, it was, first of all, the situation, let me say the situation within myself, it was such a relief. Because in the government, somehow in my country, it is very easy to shift cadres when you are at the lower, the entry level. But then I mentioned to you a little bit of my background that my spouse was a diplomat and we kept moving from one country to the other. And by the time I thought of redesignating, it was a bit late. I was already in the mid-level management. And I realized if you have to change your cadres, you'll have to go a level down. And that wasn't going well with me. So immediately I realized that, hey, Jen, you can still be where you are and you can still employ what you learn your skills to this sector. It was such a big relief. And look at it. It is already combining two sectors, the HR and the land management, and combined in the same thing. That was a great shift for me. That was a great shift. It gave me relief and expanded the people I can interact with.
Thank God you change your, you can say, role, and we have at this moment you on our podcast. Otherwise,
Yeah.
maybe some another country and doing something else. Okay,
Yes.
a lot of leaders want to change people, system, and even results, but they rarely pause to examine themselves first. Just you have done, and honestly, that's where a real leadership begins. My question is, why do you believe self-awareness is the first step toward becoming a better leader?
Wonderful question. And thank you for that. And awareness is a very interesting a very interesting topic, because we get into leadership. I would continue with the discussion, maybe still talking a little bit about myself and the moment this dawned me. It is one thing to serve, it is another thing to be just a leader. But when you clearly understand, for instance, my background, for my first approach was, I'm going to serve who? Who am I going to serve? Because I'm looking at my current environment in another direction. But I had not sat down to critically look at what is it that I'm going to add to these people. Who am I and what is it that I'm going to add to these people? So immediately you realize who you are, what you have, and the specific contribution, the value that you are going to add. Things become clear. And that is the great awareness, that unless it dawns on you, because as a leader, you need to work with people. You need to carry them, help them to move from where they are to another bigger end. So you need to influence, you need to inspire, you need to motivate. That is not different from any sector. All sectors, people need motivation, they need influence, they need to work together. And that is across. So that really gave me a big leeway to my service and to the people I work with.
Right. And it's a great thing that I have figured out from your conversation that you realize that what I'm going to add in the lives of the people whom you are serving, then this awareness, you can say, motivated you. What specific contributions are you are going? This is the key, you can say, the way that inspired you to, you can say, that to approach your awareness. That's a great thing. And that's a wonderful thing. Some leaders look confident on the outer side, but inside they may be struggling with fear, pressure, and uncertainty. It's natural. And sometimes leadership begins when we stop pretending. How can leaders face their inner reality without losing confidence? Sometimes it becomes very difficult.
That is very true. That is very true, because what or how we appear normally at times is not the real us inwardly. Or rather, our intentions at times don't come out as clear as they are in our minds. What people perceive outside is not what we intend inwardly. We as leaders have observed this, especially as we work in the government or in the corporate sector. There is so much going on inside leaders. And outwardly, we might see them as maybe someone who is not interested, someone who is bully, someone who is sharp in criticizing, or they may talk about lack of delegation. If I would go the corporate, they would talk about micromanagement. But These are just the symptoms of who someone is inwardly, right? Why would someone micromanage you? Why would someone be on your shoulder checking you? Why would someone think, unless they stand by you, check on you after every 5 minutes, then you would do well? Inwardly, there is a lack of trust. They somehow think they are better placed to do what you're trying to do, or they want to control. But deeply in psychology, anyone who behaves that way himself may be insecure. Maybe they fear you are going to do something wrong. Maybe they don't trust you. And these are confidence issues. Any leader who is confident would give you the way to go. They may tell you, they may inform you, they may support you, but they allow you to help you find yourself, to help you reveal your strength, to help you learn and grow. And it is only in freedom that we can grow. So sometimes what is portrayed out is an inner lack of confidence. So, how do leaders face their inner reality without losing that? One is just honesty. Honesty. Sit down with someone and talk to them. This is what I feel. Are we going to do this? Is it going to come? Accept the assurance and go with it. Another one is acceptance. This is a difficult one for most leaders, to face the reality of, hey, I'm sorry I did this. That is confident. I accept that I did a mistake, and this is the outcome. Owning whom you are and owning the outcome. It doesn't mean that if you own, you are going to be a failure. No, these are two different things. There is you, who I am as Jane, and there is what I do. What I do is not myself. So it's like someone managing a project. If the project fails, personally, my personality hasn't failed. I need to own up that, yes, this thing has happened. Let's do it again. Let's incorporate more people. So acceptance, being honesty, those are things that we can do to promote our confidence as leaders. All right.
Thank you. And you share what I do and who I am. They are quite different things.
They are different, very different.
Yes. Is there any, you can say that, you timeline where they become one? Is there any possibility, not exactly one, approximately, you can say approaching to, you can say the same thing?
What I do, it can, what you do can shape, because it comes from you. It comes from you, but you are totally different. And I think that is also a gap that if you can, maybe through reflections, through discussions, you learn to know there is a gap in awareness there. Because most people take failures as themselves. I have failed, and therefore I feel a loser, and therefore I'm not able to try again. That was just an outcome. You, the same person, can still repeat this thing 5 times, 10 times, and come up a winner. So, will you have changed? It is what you do that has changed. Look at these great people. Look at the Apple guy. Look at Bill Gates. Look at these great IT people. Most of them failed so many times. Look at the burger guy. All these people we look up to, they failed so many times. So who are they at the end of it? They came up, they kept perfecting what they did. They kept perfecting what they did until they are success people today. We can talk about them, we can refer about them. There is a total difference between what you do and whom you are.
Right. It's wonderful. That's great. I have, you can say, the idea that leaders keep on working, keep on improving in a way. Many emerging leaders are trained to look successful before they are truly ready. And your idea, reality is your advantage. You are going to publish this book. Really flip the, you can say, that this script. what does it mean to turn your reality into advantage as a leader?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That is at the core of my heart. That is, I got this idea because I looked at how we embraced work. In my age, I would consider myself to be not a millennial. We are the older generation, and we really tried and we dipped ourselves into work. We started from maybe assistant, then you grow through stages as you gained skills and move from one level to the other. But what I see nowadays, the younger people are sharper than us, they are faster than us, they are bolder than us. But an aspect that I see is where people appear, first of all, from the outer look, maybe fake it until you make it. And we appear to dress, we appear to use bigger titles. And what we try to avoid at all costs is the reality of where I failed, the reality of what I've not done, the reality of the current circumstances I'm going through. People put a brave face. For instance, in our social medias, in Facebook, in LinkedIn, I took very long before I embraced LinkedIn because everyone there is perfect. Everyone there knows how to write. They have big titles. Their history is perfect. I'm like, where have I been? But no one talks about their failures. No one talks about the way the boss dealt with them, how they missed to meet the deadlines. But look at this. The time you avoid this, you cover up, right? And we know that it is through these mistakes that we learn. If you avoid it, then you cannot learn anything from it because it did not occur. So it is an experiential learning. So unless we go through this learning, hey, I was supposed to move from point A to point B. I moved only a quarter. What happened to the other one? I did not attempt it. Can I attempt a quarter of it? What one step could I do? What should I not repeat? How better can I approach it? Who can help me? That is the reality. And it is true that you cannot know everything. Some people have to know, and you got to learn from them. So these are realities that when we focus to learn from these failures, when we focus to learn from smarter people than us, then bit by bit, gradually, we are learning something and it is becoming advantage. Instead of avoiding reality, instead of blaming others, instead of excuses, face your reality because that is where your advantage lies.
Right. And it's you can say quite true. I was in the conference at in Sindh, in one of the provinces of Pakistan, with my other colleagues, and I have to, you can say, speak for a few minutes over there on behalf of my some friends. You can say that all the people who were joined for that, we were in a group. It was a celebration of something that we have done, and on Facebook, LinkedIn, there were so big faces, brave faces all the time that you have mentioned. I couldn't recognize even that in that hall, and I mentioned on the, you can say, LinkedIn, on Facebook, the pages, quite different people, but here are the strangers, and there was a big laughter over there. I think people, people manage themselves on LinkedIn and all that from their profiles. It, it is reality that you have shared, but I consider it one thing in another way. Uh, it's an inspiration for other people to move. Just they have, you can say, done. Obviously, maybe some lacking is there, but when someone, you can say, visit someone's profile, it's perfect all the time, perfect, and we get to some extent inspiration that we have to move forward in this way.
That's true. That's true. Yes, we are inspired, but how many times will it take you to be perfect? Or are we going to copy? You can't copy and paste someone's experience. You've
No.
got to live it. You've got to live it. And it is important. It is also encouraging to know that one of these people who are perfect now were once imperfect. Because You are not going to bloom, poop, and you are up and you've blossomed, you are perfect. You're going to fall. You're going to fall. You're going to break. You're going to be discouraged at times. So it is important to know that it's a process, it's a journey, and that we are becoming. Yes.
Wonderful. It is a process. In this way, the two human beings will be exposed that they are also human beings.
Mhm,
They can sometimes fail in life, right?
mhm,
A title can open a door. It's you can say reality. A title can open a door,
mhm,
but the character keeps people. You can say the willing to follow,
mhm.
and this is where servant leadership hits home. My question to you: why is character more important than position in leadership?
Mhm. That's an interesting part also. Just to mention, early this year, that is the topic I started the year with. I was invited in one of our radio. Was it radio? It was TV, one of our TV stations, and I presented this issue of character and servant leadership. And another very interesting topic, because we rarely think of character. We rarely think of character, especially at the heat of the moment, when you are in that leadership, when you are in that position, right? You are promoted or you are recruited because of the skills that you have. You are recruited because your success in the previous job was noted and recognized. Therefore, you hold this position. But that's it. It's like a door opener for you. You've entered, right? What is to keep you or what will promote you into the other level, to the next level? It will be your character. It will be your character. Because in position, that's compliance. It's like level one, ground level of ground level. But what immediately your new people come, they'll judge you. Hey, our new boss came, but he's been indoors since. He doesn't say hello to people. He doesn't greet people. They're already judging you. He doesn't welcome people to see him. Oh, he sees people only at 10 a.m. in the morning, or he sees people only at 11. Does he encourage teamwork? Does he know his team? What is his approach to problems, solutions? Does he welcome suggestions? Does he welcome ideas? You see, these are the traits that help people come to you. These are the traits that help people trust you. How does he treat? Is he a bias? With the time, in the meetings, they'll know you are a temper. The boardroom, they'll know you are a temper. You are a quiet guy. Are you a talkative one who doesn't want any other person? Do you quickly rules and shuts up everyone? These things will either allow you to influence people to be on your side or to close the door and put them away. It is, I'm in the government, and it is very interesting to see people's behavior. There are people they completely shut out. There are people who we or employees follow openly. They chat, they are free. So, what will invite you to the next table is how you deal with the people. And that is an inner trait. That is an inner trait that every leader needs to be aware of. Every leader needs to keep observing and looking, re-examining themselves. There is a program I run called Reflections That Inspire. It's something like this. We also invite leaders to come and talk. And it is through experience. What have I learned? What have I learned? What are others learning on this specific topic? For instance, in character, the challenges that you've seen, the way you thought things would work, but hey, it's not working. There is a big difference between what we learn in theory and when we come to the office. You've got to find a way, you've got to learn to navigate circumstance. It's not a direct way. So, in that, your character will always come out, and it is the pointer that will lead you to the next level in any discussion, in any office, in any position or circumstances. As things keep changing in this era, your character will not be known and it will come out very clear.
Right. Right. Wonderful. It's right that title may be a door to open you for a new job or designation, but the in real situation, your character develops. You can say your trust. Your friends make the trust, and in this way, you can lead your team in a way. Obviously, it's a great. I think it's a great skill to learn even.
It
Many
is.
people, it's up to me. It's my idea. I don't know. People think in this way. I think it's a skill to learn that such kind of things happen in this way.
Yes, because look at it, position you are being assigned. Here, Jane, you've been promoted. Here is the office. These are your responsibilities. But the character you earn, and when you earn it, that means you learn it. You learn this one works, it doesn't work. You've got to respond in a way. If it is not right, you keep tuning it. You keep tuning it. And this involves learning, it involves awareness, it involves updating yourself, progressing yourself. And this comes only if you also have a goal where you are going, because not everyone learns. Not everyone learns. There are people who shut everyone. They don't want to hear, they don't want to listen, they don't want to incorporate other people's ideas, meaning they've shut themselves. And
Right.
their character is also has its end. Everything we do has a specific end. Yeah.
Right. Some leaders focus on being respected, but they forget the respect grows from trust. Just you were talking about just before about character.
Mhm.
They forget respect grows from trust, consistency, and humbleness. All the you can say the traits of a character,
Mhm.
and people can spot fake leadership from a mile away.
Mhm.
How can leaders build trust through self-awareness and consistent behavior?
Yes, that is a necessity even in our current age, because being aware of whom you are and the value you are bringing is key to our growth, is key to the success of our teams, is key to the success of every organization, and not even the corporate, is key to the success of my family. Because if my family, I'm a mother now, my family has to trust me. My children have to know how I love them. They have to know how I support them. They have to know that they are number one when it comes or compares to my work, that I value them. So, as leaders, we need to bring this out. We need to bring this out. It has to come out intentionally. We've got to be intentional about trust. And one way is just to own up. We talked about mistakes. Name your gaps loud, know your strengths as a leader, know your weaknesses. And that is a real opening for people, because you got to engage the teams, you've got to engage your colleagues. You're not going to stand and do everything. You are the boss who is taking the minutes, you're the boss who brings the problems, you are the boss who knows all the solutions. You got to accept, I am not good at this. Who can do this at 70% or faster than me? Right? You got to embrace such people. And then your reactions. Know what triggers you. Know what triggers you. I wonder whether in your country you've got very people who can easily get annoyed and shout and bang tables. These are reactions that you got to know. It's not enough to be sorry, because some leaders shout, they just burst out shouting and calling names, and you find yourself out of control in a moment. And maybe after time, you are sorry, you ask for apology, and you do that twice, and people get to know you. They give you even a name for that, because you are not able to control your emotions. So as a boss, to build trust with people, you got to control those emotions, know when you are about to be triggered, and learn to defend yourself or know what to do. Then a very important one is being consistent. Being consistent. When you are consistent with time, when you are consistent in how you treat the people you work with, when you are consistent in your response, people love to know whom they are working with, right? You like to know, if I go to Jane, Jane will be forthright with me. She won't take me around for 5 hours and she's not doing this. People will follow someone whom they can predict will do this or will not do it. And I think that is one way to build trust with your people. And also understanding people and their needs. That is the core aspect of a leader. You got to empathize with people, you got to understand their needs as well, and you got to respond with them. And one of the points that John Maxwell tells us that leader, your team would like to know if you are the kind of leader who can listen to them, if you are the kind of leader whom they can trust, if you are the kind of leader who can meet their needs. Those are the things people are yearning to know in their leader. Because if you cannot meet their needs, then why are they following you? You cannot influence them, and leadership is influence, right? So people would like to see a leader who says what he does.
Right.
When the two align together, your words and your actions align together, then people can trust you, people can work with you, people can follow you. And I think that is what I've got to say for leaders to enhance, build their trust, and remain consistent in their behaviors.
Right. May I say your conversation is just like this? We are what we do, not what we say. A leader whose conversation, whose you can say the all that matches aligns with his actions is a true leader.
That's right.
Right. And in leadership, blind spots can quietly damage relationship, decisions, and team culture. And sometimes what we don't see about ourselves affects everyone around us. How, how can leaders identify their personal blind spots before those building, you can the blind spots hurt others? It's very important for the teams and communities as well.
Yes, blind spots. I love these topics because they're about awareness. They're about awareness. Even for us as leaders, you've heard people talk about the way business is difficult, leadership is difficult, starting any startup is difficult. But it is difficult because of the blind spots, because we are dealing with something that we are not yet aware about. Immediately you get a breakthrough, which we normally get after several trials and several failures. Oh, this is what I was looking for. But initially it was tough. Why? Because it was a blind spot. It is something that you are not consciously seeing, or other people see it in you, but you're not able to see it. And this is a real discouragement to so many people. We have talked about micromanagement, we have talked about other aspects of biasness. Another aspect of it is overconfidence. Overconfidence. The little few times that I've read about this, I've gotten very interesting statistics and research findings that men tend to be more overconfident than ladies. And not because of competence, but just because of confidence.
Maybe.
When people get into interviews, men are ready, they are yielding, bold and courageous, and yes, they can. They don't look at so much of what they've done to qualify for this. On the other hand, women stop and think through, what have I done to qualify for this? Am I really ever? And they doubt themselves. But when it comes to practice, women still do better. That is the irony of it. That is the irony of it. So to identify spots, blind spots that hurt people, quite a number of things that we can do, just the way we are talking with you this discussion, and even I've told you about reflections that inspire the forum that we have. We can learn a lot from fellow leaders. We can learn a lot from our colleagues, both from one-on-one and such online interactions. And I think this is one thing that has really helped us to grow. Before 2020, I wanted to start training physically. And I think about 4 days before I had my physical workshop, the issue of COVID was reported in our country, and there was shutdown everywhere. We were told there are no more physical meetings, everything is cancelled. And I'm like, wow, what am I going to do? Is that the end of my training? That was going to be my first physical training ever. I'd not done any other. And I thought everything was closed on me. And then shortly, I started seeing people going online. And I think it's in 2020 that I had my first virtual talk ever. And I look at those videos and I'm like, what was I doing? I look at them today and I'm just wondering, Jenna, why were you talking so much? Why were you smiling so much? Why were you hitting your head so much? And today, not that I'm so good, but I'm more confident. I'm more free in what I say. And I realize people are doing this. And the second one is that we learn from one another. When I want to improve my speaking, when I want to improve my deliberations, I call someone like you and we get online and learn together. So that is one way of learning our blind spots. You share with one another. Other ways of learning, identifying our blind spots, it's also just by doing it. You can practice and practice and practice with awareness, such as reflections. You talked about prayers shortly before we started this. Reflections is a part of prayers also. When you take time to reflect, most of our maybe spiritual leaders and even these big people we know in big corporations have special time for reflections. When you reflect, we are taught it's like you bake the ideas that you have. We are told our leaders, for instance, I'm a Christian. We are told Jesus spent time praying and fasting, and there were revelations. I'm sure in your religion, when you talk about prayers and fasting, those are ideas for great awareness. Those are great awareness ideas. So those are some of the few reasons that you can learn, enhance your awareness to be a better leader and to practice. And not just a better leader outside, individually to refreshen yourself, to have new, fresh, and innovative ideas.
Right. It's a wonderful way that we learn from our fellows. And one of my friends, you can say, shared me the idea selection. Our friends must be, you can say, the wonderful. We should be very careful. Even our friends on our, you can say, the social media. We get learning from them. If we add such people who are not, who don't resonate with our, you can say, the thoughts or ideas, it may be maybe distracting and wasting of our time. And at that moment, he removed a few friends from my Facebook. You can say he was sitting with me, and you can say, remove it, remove this, and I was at that moment was not quite, you can say, that easy, and inside my was, you can say, another thing why he's removing the people from my list. But I realized it later on. That's a good thing that you have the people who are on the same field, approximately not 100%, maybe 50-50, or you can say that some ratio. In this way, it's a great chance to learn something from others rather than just consuming the time and wasting the time.
Good.
You're right. Right, we should move for the, you can say, the next point. Your
Mhm.
work in public service, just we you have shared in before we went live.
Mhm.
Leadership is not just about the policies; it's about people and their lives. People and their lives are most important, and that gives leadership a very human face.
Mhm.
My question to you: how has your work as a civil servant shaped your understanding of people centered leadership?
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you so much. One thing that I would say is to appreciate civil service. Is to appreciate civil service. I think after you have worked as a civil service, the idea or what you embrace about people totally differs. Totally differs. As a civil servant, I think it has shaped me, including what I'm currently doing, service to the people. At the core of what you do is service to the people. I would say government is not the most rich when it comes to the civil service. Government is rich, right? All governments are rich. But when it comes to the core civil service, I don't think the resources are as many as it would be in parliament. When it comes to civil service, the people who come to the offices are not literally or may not be the exact face of the people who are in parliament. Right. What I mean here is when you are serving in the civil service, you meet with the ordinary citizen. You meet with the people who come to you for real need, right? It is their need to get the service that they want. And it is up to you to give it to them. And I would say it has really shaped my thought. I would give you one example. There is an idea about civil service. I don't know whether you got that in your country also. There is idea of civil servants being maybe careless, not being active enough, not keeping time enough, or not clearly responding to the public as they should be. This is the example of what it has done to me. In my country, we use public transport, and of course, several people have their cars and they come to work. And one way that I've always challenged myself is to you go to the city center once in a month or twice, but I have to go experience life coming back to my office, maybe walking. It gives me the revelation, it gives me the clarity, the real experience of the people who come to me. My country work is still a bit centralized. Most people have to come to the main city to get services, specific services, because I've told you where I work. And at times, when you are seated there, you do not know the pain it has taken someone to arrive where you are. At times, we tend to forget, just like any other leader. And it is good to understand them at their point of need, to feel them the way they feel, such that when they come to your office, you offer the services to them. Having said that, civil servant means you support people. You help them to fulfill their needs. That means you are the problem solver. That means you treat them with the dignity and create the value, pride of where you are. And where you are as a civil servant is the pride your government carries. And these are all awareness. At times we sit in offices not understanding clearly ourselves, clearly understanding the role that we are playing, not understanding the people we represent. I think those are great revelations to me, and really some that make me to be a proud civil servant.
Right.
Yes.
If someone to realize to be a true, in a true sense, a civil servant, he or she must do what you are talking about. In our area, we have, you can say, the such kind of civil servants that we have to support them all the time. For example, they use petrol free of cost,
Mhm.
because hundreds of liters per month.
Mhm.
Yeah, your phone calls are free. So many things, the luxuries they, you can say, enjoy on
Mhm.
behalf of our, you can say, the public. We are, you can say, taxation on everything in our country. Even on, you can say, if we use more than 200 units for
Mhm.
electricity, there's a different charge.
Mhm.
For example, if we pay for you can have 199 units, 6,000, and when you go up 201, you are
Mhm.
going to pay 12,000. Rate is doubled for 1 unit even.
Mhm.
But you can say civil servants enjoy all; they get free electricity.
Mhm.
But if they would like to, you can say, their real role, they have to move in, you can say, the public. They have to realize their actual role.
Mhm. That's very true, and that is the point we are discussing here. That is awareness. I'm sure it's because of either assumption, ignorance, or just lack of intentionality.
Yes.
These are the resources we all need as a nation, any country, and managing them here. If three, four of us could manage them well, that caters for my people who are outside. That
Right.
caters for me after retirement. I mean, that consciousness to provide value.
Yes.
If any of us would keenly sit down with ourselves and understand that what they need is what I need, right? The resources that they need is the resources that I need. Then we would be true to ourselves and true to the service that we are doing.
Okay, right. We have talked a lot. Now we have to move forward on this topic. Uh,
All
a
right.
number of things we have discussed. You can say, all right, change can shake people. Obviously, where is a change, there is a disturbance, and it can create even fear, resistance, and confusion inside teams. And that's when leadership is truly tested. How can self-aware leaders guide people through, you can say, the change without creating panic?
Mhm. Mhm. Self-aware leaders are confident leaders. I think we talk about confidence. They are courageous, and what people would like to see in a leader is courage, right? People would love to see a courage leaders, especially this is true, especially in the military where we've got true leaders. I think that is where the example I would do a leader who steps forward, right? Not who directs you to go and do what they cannot do themselves. Who steps forward, who is courageous, who is competent enough, and they lead by example. Leading by example is one of the key ways people would like to see and be confident. And another aspect is, which we have also talked about, is doing what you've said to do, being consistent.
Right.
Thank you. Mhm.
You can say it's my second last question because we have consumed a lot of time. Uh, every
Sure.
leader has a personal story, success, struggles, mistakes, and lessons. Just you have discussed a lot about that. And often the story we try to hide is the story that can help others.
Mhm.
How can leaders use their personal journey to inspire growth in others?
Let's talk about it freely. Let's have such forums. Let people hear your beginning. Let people hear how you stumbled. You are having a court today, but if you can remember your early childhood, maybe you were walking barefoot. Let that be example, so that remember how we started, that reality is your advantage, so that you don't wear a face that is not true, so that you don't appear in ways that are not true. Let people learn from you. Let people know the stages. Talk to them. Have conferences. Talk freely. Let your door be open so that people know you truly, whom you are. I think that is One way to encourage the young people, the middle, even your peers will learn more from your examples as a leader.
All right, that's wonderful. And thank you very much. Would you like to, you can say, give any message? What kind of leadership legacy do you hope today leaders will leave behind? What
Mhm.
kind of legacy you expect?
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for the discussion. What I would talk about is that self awareness, self awareness can really help us to understand ourselves in better ways and appear more genuine and authentically lead people. A quote from James Russell Lowell, I'll just paraphrase. He says that no man can be great without thoroughly understanding himself. You cannot do great or be great without thoroughly understanding and being sincere with yourself. I think that is the greatest impact or thought that I have for this season. You want to be great, be thorough in understanding yourself so that you appear authentic in what you do and in whom you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Jean, this has been such a powerful, honest, and deeply practical conversation that you shared with us. Today, you remind us that leadership doesn't begin with the title, position. It may open the door. It begins with the courage and character to face ourselves. Because when leaders understand themselves, they understand the true reality, they lead with more clarity. They serve with more humbleness and they build trust that lasts. Thank you, Dr. Jain, for sharing your wisdom, your journey, and your heart with us today. And to everyone listening, don't just hear these ideas, listen them, practice them, lead with them. This is talks that teach, where ideas are not just discussed, they are transformed into action. And our message is listen, learn, and lead. And we are anxiously waiting for your book. When it got published, we would like to hear about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate so much the discussion, and I will definitely let you know once the book is out.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.